Today's study, first of all, let me apologize for being absent the last lesson because I had a bout of bad cough, so I just couldn't speak very much. I'm now fully recovered, and I'm very happy to be able to share the sutta with you again. So this study is not only about learning the Dhamma, it's about making friends, it's about knowing ourselves. Remember, it's not how many suttas you know, it's not whether you know the sutta or not. It's just going to the sutta, feeling it, enjoying it. Imagine what's going on as you listen to the words. These words go back 2,500 years in India from a historical person, the Buddha, the wisest of all mankind. So this it is a connection with the Buddha again, with awakening. So when you study the sutta, feel the peace. If you go on doing this, it's like doing your exercise. You build up your health, you strengthen yourself. In this case, it happens mentally. You go through a change. So it's not how much you know. It is the change you undergo, this better person that you become, this peace that you experience, the joy that you experience. And you see this peace and joy pervading your whole life, not just when you study the suttas, in your daily life also. As you meet people, as you face various difficulties and struggle in life, you find that strength. And whatever you face in life, you see it as a lesson. You're able to use it as a lesson. In fact, when we look at the suttas, they record the experiences of the Buddha, his awakening experiences. So it's not some stories in the past that you must believe in. The Buddha is telling you, this is what I did. And it made me awaken and free. You can do this also. Right? In other words, you're also capable of approaching this teaching. So this Venagapura Sutta is the discourse at Venagapura, a place in India long ago. If you look at on the top right-hand side, the big letters, Venagapura, okay? It's the name of an ancient town. Some of these ancient towns are still there in India. So it's amazing today, you know, it's still there. But many of these old places, for some reason, because people have been living there too long, I think, so that the ground is no more fertile, so there are less people there. Sometimes they're just ruins, but the place is still there. But some places like Benares is still flourishing today. Saranath is still flourishing today. So India's full of these holy places. Wonderful land of holy places, especially in the north. All right, then you have this, the number, sutta number, A3.63. So I do remember the name, Venagapura Sutta, or A3.63. A is Anguttara Nikaya. Anguttara Nikaya. You can see Anguttara here, this name, Anguttara. Anguttara means one more or one up. Anga. Anga means unit. Uttara means more. Uttara also means north, but here it means more. And then 3 is the book of threes, triads, three items. Sutta number 63. And if you're curious what is Sutta about, there you are, there's a theme there. The Buddha's meditations on happiness. So here the Buddha talks about himself, his practices. And you'll find, in fact, in one of our latest suttas, we have this Nanda Sutta. And that's about, the Buddha talks about Nanda's experience, the Buddha's half-brother, how he became an arahat. And then you have other suttas which talk about other monks' experiences, other arahats' experiences also. So we're talking about people who have experienced the Dhamma, just as you and I will experience this Dhamma. We want to experience this wonderful awakening experience. So these suttas describe the mental state of these great saints. Where can you get all these wonderful materials? But here, only here in the suttas, you have all these amazing records, first-person records of awakening. Okay, so let's look at this sutta now. The introduction is very short, and we'll look at the sutta right away. Venagapura Sutta, the Discourse at Venagapura, A 3.63. At one time, the Blessed One was wandering in Kosala country in stages. The Buddha is always, when he's healthy, for 6 months of the year, he will usually be walking, traveling, teaching. He sits a long time to teach, and then he will go on long tours. He goes from country to country, meeting people. Sometimes he'll teach them along the roadside even. But remember, it's not the India of today. The India of the Buddha's time, mostly forest. The highways are dusty and dry. So lots of trees and forests around. So the Buddha would walk through the beautiful country, stopping where there are communities, a small village maybe, and then collects his alms food from there. So that is going through the country, walking in stages, and is teaching. So the Buddha is wandering in that sense. So this is Kosala country in northern India. Now, here he moves, he travels with a large community of monks. Now, we're not told how many. It can be, say, 500 to a couple of thousand, perhaps. And this time, they came to Venāga pura. Well, pura means city, but of course, when we visit city, we're talking about city 2,500 years ago. It's not very big, but it's much bigger than a village. In those days, you have 3 terms. You have gama. Gama is a village, or grama in Sanskrit. And then nigama. Nigama are market towns. And market towns are very interesting places. They begin as crossroads. There are no buildings or community there, but crossroads are important places because people decide which way to go. And so they ask for directions, and you need supply. So people selling food, selling things there, and slowly this kind of trading and so on grew, and then it became a settlement and became a town. So it's called a nigama. And then you have this bigger town called Nagara, which is a city. So these are the kind of 3 categories of settlements in ancient India. So in this case, Venagapura, it has a nice big name, but it's a Brahmin village of the Kosalas. The Brahmin householders of Venagapura heard this. Okay, here in ancient India, I don't know how far today, in modernized India probably be slightly different, but those days the whole village would be, say, Brahmins or Kshatriyas, Sudras, and so on. So here, they're not only Brahmins, they're also householders. In other words, people there, many of them are wealthy, they own houses and lands. So they live together, cultivating the land usually, agriculture and so on. They were living at a time when the country was prospering. There was this political change coming because the kings were becoming very powerful. So they've gone around conquering the republics, the Gana Saṅgha. the conquering of the republics, like the Shakyas, the Lichavis, and so on. So this Gana Sanghas, these republics, they have to either join or affiliate themselves with these kings, like Bimbisara, Pasenadi, Jatasattu, and so on. In fact, this is the beginning of Indian Empire, and this empire started growing until it became very big during the Maurya period. So it started in the Buddha's time. So you have these householders who are very rich, and they will be taxed, and then the kings will be very powerful. They use the money, they'll use the iron. It was also the Iron Age to make their tools. They make better weapons with the iron, better parts for like boats, plows, and so on. So they were progressing in those days. And the cities were also growing, population was also growing. There was a lot of free time. And because there are a lot of free time, they also have time to ask questions, they ask questions about life and so on. So that's the time the Buddha arose. So here the Buddha came to this village of Venagapura. So he's well known. So this verse means he's already well known. This is called a stop passage. It is said that the recluse Gautama, so he belongs to the recluse movement, samana, recluse, or shramana in Sanskrit. Okay, the shramanas, the recluses, they were the anti-Brahmins, if you like. They were on the other side. They do not accept the Vedas. They reject the Vedas. So you have the Brahmanas, the Brahmins, who are the old school, if you like. They believe in the Vedas and all this theology, whereas the Shramanas, they were the reform movement, right? So, and of course, there are many Brahmins who are kind of in between. They're not all priests, although they belong to that class. So they're so happy to meet the Buddha. Now, this is not surprising because I want you to imagine, again, remember India 2,500 years ago. It's not like today. There's no railway road. There's not even no highways, no buses, no trains. So, and imagine if you're living in a village like Venagapura, you're not going to have any entertainment. There's no telephones and no TV. So when the Buddha comes to the village, that is entertainment. And people are so happy, say, hey, we have a visitor. And they look at the Buddha, he's so peaceful, he looks so and the Indian mind, the Indian eyes always have this great respect for such people who are symbols of peace. And they hear the Buddha talking, they become even more inspired because they hear wisdom. So they have great respect for teachers. So this is what goes on in their mind. They say, oh, there is this recluse Gautama. And only is he the recluse, he's the son of the Sakyas, Sakyaputta, son of the Sakyas, because they know the Sakyas were very powerful, very fierce. They were Kshatriyas, that they were noblemen, warriors. And he's this prince among the Shakyas. He's going to be ruler, but he gave up. He became a monk who went forth from the Sakya clan. And he has been wandering, or the big word is peregrinating, in Kosala, in stages, with a large community of monks. So he has followers. There are others like him. And he has come to the village of Venagapura. So imagine the excitement of the village. They're so happy to meet the Buddha. Okay, let's go further down. Right. So not only that, they don't only know the Buddha socially, but they also hear about the Buddha spiritually. 1.3. 1.3, this is the subsection. Concerning this blessed one, this fair report has been spread about thus. So this is the news, okay? This is the mass media of those days. People talk, travelers talk. Merchants will bring stories. Oh, that's the Buddha. So too is he the blessed one. Iti piso bhagava. Okay? For he is arahat, arahato, fully self-awakened, samma sambuddho. Okay? Accomplished in knowledge and conduct, which are charana sampanno. Sugato, well gone. Okay, well gone, that means Wherever he goes, he brings blessings and he's blessed. People are happy to meet him. Knower of worlds, lokavidu. Okay, knower of the worlds. Here, meaning he knows all the worlds, all the three worlds. Our sense world, the form world, the formless world, the deep, and all those levels of being. And not only that, he knows the world are our senses. Our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. What we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think. That's our real world. That's the world we create for ourselves. So he knows the world. That's the meaning of this. Unexcelled trainer of tameable people. Purisa Dhamma Sarati. Right? He trains people who are ready to be trained, ready for awakening. Teachers of beings, human and divine. Satta Deva Manusanang. And then Buddho, Bhagava. Buddho is awakened, Bhagava, blessed. So there you are. These are the 9 virtues of the Buddha. So they know the Buddha in some way, maybe not exactly as it is mentioned here, but they definitely know the Buddha as someone wise and awakened. Remember the word Buddha in India. When they say Buddha, they know, okay, it's someone special, someone awakened. Having realized by his own direct knowledge, there you are. Not through the scriptures like the Brahmins, right? But his own direct knowledge, his own experience. This world with its gods, its maras and its brahmas. This generation with its recluses and Brahmins, its rulers and people. So we are talking about this inhabited world. He makes it known to others. Now, this is very important. Sometimes we say, oh, it's just a word. The Buddha makes the Dhamma known to others. The Brahmins do not do that. The Brahmins only recite their gathas and their, Vedas to show that they are priests, and you must go to them and bring gifts and donations, and they will pray for you. They are the ones who bring you to heaven. But here, the Buddha makes the Dhamma known to you. He teaches the Dhamma. Now, because of that, Buddhism became the world's first missionary religion, because the Buddha opens up his teaching to others. You too can be a Buddhist, but you cannot be a Brahmin. You're born a Brahmin, but you can't be a Brahmin. But here, you can be a Buddhist. If you practice, you can be Buddhist, would be a better term. To be Buddhist, to be a Buddhist is statistic. You just say, oh, I'm a Buddhist, but you don't practice. But to be Buddhist means you meditate, you feel calm, you feel peaceful. That moment of peace, you're Buddhist. He teaches the Dhamma, good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. So here, good in the beginning, there's moral virtue, practice of the precepts. Good in the middle, meditation, cultivation of the mind. And good in the end is the result, insight wisdom, wisdom that frees us from suffering, both in the spirit and in the letter. Right? The Buddha teaches using stories, metaphors, and so on, and also beautiful words. And then this last sentence, he proclaims the holy life. Here meaning renunciation. You can join this order. You can become a full-time practitioner by being a monk or a nun. That is entirely complete and pure. So this training is there. Everything is there. And it purifies your body and mind to the precepts. So this is what they're being told. And finally, the bottom line is, it is good to see arahats such as these. So arahats, it's not exactly a Buddhist word. It's a universal term in ancient India. Even today, those who are worthy of respect. Of course, for Buddhist arahats are special. They are those who are awakened, just like the Buddha. The Buddha is the first arahat, and the other arahats are just like the Buddha. They're also awakened. But they're called Anubuddha, those who come after the Buddha. All right, so that's by way of introduction. They know who the Buddha is, so he's well known. 2, then the Brahmin householders of Venagapura went up to the Blessed One. Notice they go up to him. They're very happy. Now, there's a bit of humor here, okay? Some exchange greetings with him. They put their palms together and said, and they bow. Some greeted him with, okay, some just say hello without, putting the palms together. Some greeted him with palms together, Anjali, all right? Some announced their name, especially the big names. They say, okay, we belong to this family, that family, and clan before the Blessed One, and then sat down at one side. Some kept silent and sat down at one side. Okay, so there are those who probably are not religious. They're forced to go because the whole village has gone to see the Buddha. So they just come quietly, they are at the edge of the crowd, and they just sit quietly, but they also listen. So there you are, you have this interesting observation of human nature, right? So that's the introduction. You find many of the narrative suttas, you have this introduction, and it kind of gives us a very interesting insight into early Indian society. So if you are a social scientist, you find this kind of document, this kind of sutta also very useful in forming Indian culture. Now, there is someone special from this group who praises the Buddha. His name is Vacchagotta. Then Vacchagotta, the Brahmin of Venagapura, sitting down at one side, said this to the Blessed One. Okay, first of all, Vacchagotta is Pali. I think Sanskrit is Vatsya Gotra. Okay, so this is a family name. So it's not his name. Very often, the Buddha will address people by their family names. So you find quite a number of Vacchagotta. So he's a Brahmin of Venagapura. We're not sure whether he's actually from there or he was also visiting the village, because later there'll be another Vacchagotta who comes to see the Buddha again. So these are things we have to do deep research. So this Vacchagotta is there. We don't know his first name. We don't know his name is Vacchagotta. Of course, in this case, we say Venagapura Vacchagotta, the Vacchagotta of Venagapura. Sitting down at one side, said this to the Blessed One. Now, here again, we see another interesting ancient Indian behavior, sitting down at one side. They do not sit in front of the Buddha like we do today in a lecture hall. Even today, if you go to some Indian temples, you find the devotees, they will stand at the side. And then there's this passage going straight to the shrine. So this is an ancient practice, even in Buddha's time. I think that logically, the reason is there is this space for the world to come anytime. People can just come forward, go straight to the Buddha, and bow to him and say hello to him, and then they sit at one side. So they don't block that path to the Buddha. So ekamantang, at one side. Eka is one, and then anta, side or part of a place. No? Anta actually means end. So you join together, it becomes ekamantang. There's an M in the middle. Okay, so this Brahmin Vacchagotta, he is quite fluent with language. He praises the Buddha. It is wonderful, Master Gautama. It is marvelous, Master Gautama. How clear are the senses of the Master Gautama. How utterly pure and fair is his complexion. Right? So the Buddha is a Sakya from northern India, so he's fair skinned. So this Vacchagotta is praising him, just like we praise another Brahmin. In fact, in those days, in Buddha's time, the Kshatriyas and the Brahmins, they were kind of rivals. And in the central India at that time, the central Gangetic plain, the Brahmins were in dominance. They were very powerful. So the Brahmins were like the powerful Brahmins. they were being pushed westwards towards the Punjab area, if you like, the Kuru area, beyond that. Right? So the rest of the main Gangetic plain would be ruled or dominated by the Kshatriyas. So he's praising the Buddha, and he uses three kinds of metaphors. Master Gautama, just as the yellow jujube fruit in autumn is utterly pure and fair, even so is Master Gautama's complexion utterly pure and fair. It's like he's talking to what do you call that, movie star, pop star. He say, you are so handsome, so good looking, you know. So he's comparing the Buddha's complexion to the yellow jujube fruit, okay? So it's a kind of fruit which looks very slightly yellowish, I think, the way it is, because the yellow is mentioned. So it's kind of like golden colored, you know. Master Gautama, just as the palm fruit just loosened from the stalk is utterly pure and fair, even so is Master Gautama's complexion utterly pure and fair. So I suppose in the Indian, palm fruit is kind of very white, eh? Whereas the local Malaysian palm fruit is different. It's kind of dark and brownish. Now the next metaphor is very clear. Master Gautama, just as an ornament of Jambu River gold. Jambu River gold is a very famous phrase, meaning the best gold you can get in India at that time. Well worked by a masterly young goldsmith, skillfully bitten, then laid out on a red blanket cloth, shines, burns, and radiates. Even so is Master Gautama's complexion utterly pure and fair. So when Vachagota, he's probably a young Brahmin, I think. So he's praising the Buddha's looks, not Dharma or teacher. He's saying, wow, you look really great. Eh? So he's moved by the Buddha's charisma, in other words. So then he talks about how fortunate someone like the Buddha is. 3.2. What now, Master Gautama? As regard these great high couches, that is to say, the sofa, the divan, the long fleece coverlets, the multicolored patchwork coverlets, the flower-embroidered woolen coverlets, the cotton quilts, the coverlets embroidered with animal figures, rugs with fur on one side, rugs with fur on both sides, gem-embroidered coverlets, silk coverlets, dance floor coverlets, dance floor carpets, and then, okay, go a bit down more. Go down a bit, yes. Horse rugs, elephant rugs, chariot rugs, antelope hide rugs, choice rugs of Kadali deer hide, spreads with red canopies of top covering, and crimson double rests. These are pillows and bolsters, no? Crimson double rests for the head and feet. All such couches, I'm sure, the Master Gautama obtains whenever he pleases, with neither difficulty nor trouble. Okay, so again, notice this is quite a worldly Brahmin. Eh? He's talking about this very comfortable room or house. This passage, this paragraph talks about a really beautiful, safe, and comfortable place of a rich man. All right. So he's saying, wow, you know, someone with your looks can easily get all these things and live a very comfortable life, right? So you find he's praising the Buddha to the best of his personality. So of course we know more or less he's quite a worldly person. He's saying the Buddha can get all these worldly things just like that, very easy because of his personality, his charisma. All right, so that's the introduction. So that's the world coming to meet the Buddha. The question now is, how is the Buddha going to reply? All right, let's look at section 4 now. Now the Buddha's reply. Remember, this Brahmin Vachagota is praising the Buddha, says, wow, with your kind of look and charisma, you can easily get all these very wonderful things in life that makes living comfortable. In Singapore, probably we say, wow, you can easily get a condo or something like that. Right? So this is the Buddha's reply. But notice the but means there is a little bit of controversy, something different. But Brahmin, all these great high couches, that is to say, and then the Buddha repeats everything, all right? I just read through once. That is to say, the sofa, the divan, the long fleece coverlets, etc., spreads with red canopies and crimson double rests for the head and feet. All such couches, notice this, there's a change here. All such couches are difficult to be obtained by those gone forth. And when they obtain them, they are not allowable. So notice there's a bit of humor here, right? So the Buddha is telling this Brahmin who is not well informed, the Buddha says, you know, for us, for renunciants, for monks and nuns, it's difficult to get all these things. And when we do get them, we cannot have them. We cannot use them. Okay. So you must imagine, okay, how is the Buddha looking now? He's probably smiling, right? Now, okay, but, and then here, however, so the Buddha is going to say something special. However, Brahmin, there are these three great couches, three great high couches that I obtain whenever I like, with neither difficulty nor trouble. So now he's saying what he, as Buddha, is able to get, or you can say an arhat, he is able to get. What are the three? They are Brahmin, the divine great high couch, Dibba, Ucca Sayana, Mahasayana. This is in stem form, okay? This is actually, you won't get this kind of sentence in Pali. Okay? This will be Dibba, okay? Ucca Sayana, Mahasayana, okay? Divine, Dibba means divine. Notice here, Dibba, and the word divine here. And this last column, they're all the same. This is to learn a bit of Pali, right? The divine great high couch, the perfect great high couch, Brahma, Uccasayana, Mahasayana. The noble great high couch, Arya, Uccasayana, Mahasayana. These are the three great high couches that I obtain whenever I like, with neither difficulty nor trouble. So the keywords now are divine, perfect, noble. And he's going to explain them. He's going to talk about the divine couch, the perfect couch, the noble couch. So here you find the Buddha turning the tables. He's taking something which is known, he teaches something the Vajragota and the villagers do not know about, from the world to the Dhamma. So he's going to talk, the Buddha is going to talk about the divine, the heavenly, the celestial couch. It's very comfortable seat, if you like. Right? Then Vajragota asks, 5, but what now, Master Gotama? Is the great high couch that is divine that the Master Gotama can get as he pleases, with neither difficulty nor trouble? Here, Brahmin, says the Buddha, I, dwelling dependent on the village or a market town, having risen early in the morning, having dressed myself and taking rope and bow, I enter a village of the market town for alms. Right, so here we see the Buddha talking about his own lifestyle. Okay. Okay, let me just make a note here. It's a typo. So the Buddha says, first of all, that he is a renunciant. He lives on alms food. So he gets up in the morning, his daily routine is to go into a village or town to collect alms food. Then he heads for the forest edge. He will go back to the forest, sit down there and eat. There I gather some grass or leaves together into one place and sit down there cross-legged, keeping mindfulness before me. So he's preparing for meditation. And then here we know very well he talks about the first dhyana. That's quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome mental states. I reach and dwell in the first dhyana. So here he's saying dhyana is deep meditation. I free my mind from all sensual pleasures of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And I let go of all unwholesome states and enter the first dhyana, accompanied by initial application, sustained application. The mind has just enough thought to stay focused. Initial means the mind is directed to the object. Sustained application stays with the object. Accompanied by zest, joy. Joy arises. Happiness is a gentler form of joy, born of solitude. Here, meaning because of this earlier statement, because the mind is free from mental hindrances, free from all the defilements and worldliness, he attains this first jhana, very deep. I permeate and pervade, suffuse and feel this very body, this whole body is filled with zest and happiness born of solitude. He feels very happy. So he says, this is how he enjoys the first kind of state, first jhana. Good. Further down, now he talks about the next jhana, second jhana. And furthermore, Brahmin, with the stilling of initial application as sustained application. In other words, even the slightest thought subsides. Even the slightest thinking is gone in the second dhyana, okay? By gaining inner tranquility and oneness of mind. The mind is very still, very calm, and very focused. Oneness, very focused. I reach and dwell in the second dhyana, second level of jhana, free from initial applications and sustained application, accompanied by zest and happiness born of concentration. Okay, this time concentration is mentioned. So there is joy, there is happiness because the mind is concentrated. And then this, again, this closing line in the verse, I permeate and pervade, suffuse and feel this very body with the zest and happiness born of concentration. He's happy. Then it goes on to the third dhyana, further Brahmin with the fading away of zest. Okay, zest is this bubbling joy. Okay, so the bubbling joy, if you like, the bubble bursts and then the bubbling zest settles down, the bubbly joy settles down. There is this calm joy. I remain equanimous, mindful and clearly knowing. So his mind is clear, although it's not chatty, no thoughts, but the mind is clear. And experience happiness with the body. Whole body feels comfortable and peaceful and joyful. I reach and dwell in the third dhyana, of which the nobles one declare happily dwells in equanimity and mindfulness. I permeate and pervade, suffuse and fill this very body with happiness free from zest. Right? So there, this is the key. Happiness free from zest. This calm kind of happiness, a higher level, refined happiness. And furthermore, Brahmin, with the abandoning of joy and abandoning of pain, this time even the joy disappears. There's something higher than joy. Sukha, in this case, joy. And with the earlier disappearance of pleasure and displeasure, I attain and dwell the fourth dhyana, which is that is neither painful nor pleasant, and with mindfulness fully purified by equanimity. So the fourth jhana, the mind is very still and calm. Having become such Brahmin, if I walk up and down at such time, my walking is divine. Diba to me, right? So he comes out of this jhana, his mind is still focused and it's very joyful. He does his walking, every step is joyful. Doesn't need to watch TV, doesn't need to listen to jokes. He just walks up and down in meditation. He's very happy. Having become such Brahmin, if I stand at such a time, my standing is divine to me. Walking, standing, reclining. Okay, having become such, if I recline, I lie down to rest. At such time, my reclining is divine to me. So all these postures, sitting is already done in meditation, walking, standing, reclining, all joyful. This or that Brahmin is the great high couch that is divine, that I obtain whenever I like, with neither difficulty nor trouble. So Vajragota is very happy. It is wonderful, Master Gotama. It's marvelous, Master Gotama. And who but the Master Gotama obtains such a great high couch that is divine whenever it pleases, with neither difficulty nor trouble. And so he's very happy to hear what the Buddha is telling him here. Now the Buddha goes on to describe the perfect couch. So he asked the Buddha, but how? But what now, Master Gotama, is the great high couch that is perfect, that the Master Gotama can get as he pleases, with neither difficulty nor trouble. All right, so what's this? The second kind of couch. These are the divine abodes. Okay, let's see how the Buddha describes the divine abodes. It says, here, Brahmin, I dwell dependent on the village. So here's the same. The Buddha says, okay, I live on alms food. I go to the village, collect food, and I go to the forest and take my meal, sitting on grass and leaves, just like that. See, he doesn't sit on the chair even, he just sits on the ground. And here it says, here, Brahmin, with a heart of loving kindness, I dwell, using 1 quarter. So to the second quarter. 1 quarter means front quarter. The second quarter is a right-hand quarter. Third quarter is the quarter directions behind. The fourth quarter, the direction to the left. Okay, front, right, behind, left. So loving kindness everywhere. Loving kindness to the world that is vast, grown great, immeasurable, without hate, without ill. The whole world sends out loving kindness everywhere. Second, the words are the same. Further, Brahmin with a heart of compassion, right? So he directs his compassion front, right, behind, and the left. Above, below also included, yeah? And this is compassion to everyone, everywhere. And then after a while, he develops. Notice, this is done sequentially. You first start with loving kindness. Loving kindness is the basis of it. Then it becomes compassion. Compassion becomes gladness, joy, mudita, metta, karuna, mudita, and then upekkha, inner peace. Same thing, right? He shows this peace everywhere. Having become such Brahmin, if I walk up and down at such time, my walking is perfect, right? Because he comes up with meditation, he walks joyfully with loving kindness and so on. And he stands also in the same way, joyfully, and he lies down, reclines in the same way, in the perfect manner. Here he plays on the word Brahma. Brahma can mean perfect, it can mean divine also, right? So you find this Pali words, polysemic, more than one meaning. All right, so Vajragota, of course, again, is very happy. Let's go further down. Down a bit more, yes. So again, Vajragota said, wonderful, Master Gautama. Wow, this is really great. Now the last one. So Vajragota asked, what about the third one, the noble couch? What is this noble couch you have no difficulty getting? And here again, the Buddha says, okay, here I am, living on alms. I go to the village, collect alms, and then I go to the forest to eat it. So what does he do? Further down, noble couch. He says that, I know thus, right? The Buddha says, I know thus. Lust has been abandoned, cut off at the root, made like a palm tree stump, done away with so that it is not subject to further growth. I've uprooted lust. Hatred has been uprooted. Delusion has been uprooted. These are the 3 unwholesome roots. Greed, hate, delusion, not so can. So the Buddha says, if I were to walk up and down, I feel my walking is noble, arya to me. I stand in the same way, nobly. I recline, I lie down, nobly. So this is the noble couch. So his couch is always there in his mind. So here again, this Brahmin is very happy. And then the sutta closes with the Brahmin going for refuge, right? So you can see 7.5, the bottom, go down a bit more. Yes, down some more. Yeah. Excellent Master Gautama, excellent Master Gautama. Just as if one were to place upright what had been overturned, or were to reveal what was hidden, or were to show the way to one who was lost, or were to hold up a lamp in the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. Even so, in numerous ways, the Dhamma have been made clear by the Blessed One. Here, I suppose this includes the villagers also. The whole village kind of says sadhu and very happy. We go to the Blessed One for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May the Blessed One remember us as lay followers who have gone for refuge from this day forth for life. So notice here you see the Buddha bringing the Dhamma and the people accepting it and are very happy with the Buddha, talking about his practice, talking very peacefully, very calmly, with a smile. So that is the Venagapura Sutta, the Buddha talking about his own practice and happiness. All right, so now it's question time.
Thank you, Piya, for the inspiring teaching. Now is Q&A. We have a first question from Sister Willing. Buddha differentiate by divine, perfect, and noble couch. The perfect couch is practicing the 4 Brahma Viharas. Does that mean the attainment of perfect couch is higher compared to the divine couch that is a 4 dhyana?
Yeah, it's interesting the way these things are placed in sequence. Then you've got divine, perfect, and noble. And we are tempted to think that, of course, Arya would be the best. Yeah, in a sense, yes, because when the Buddha discovered awakening through the noble path, so in that sense, we would say the Arya practice is the highest. And because the Buddha has attained that state, he's able to also do the divine practice, the divine abodes, and is also able to do other forms of meditation, right? So you have the divine in the sense of the 4 dhyanas, the perfect Brahma in terms of the well-known practice of loving kindness and so on, which the Brahmins also know. Many other practitioners of the outside of Buddhism also know. So what the Buddha has done is he discovered awakening through the Arya practice, the highest of them. But he also teaches you can also gain the Arya, the noble path, through the other stages if you practice them properly, and then you go on to reflect, make use of insight wisdom, the wisdom of looking directly into true reality, seeing no self, but impermanence, the nature of unsatisfactoriness, and so on. Okay? So yes, I would say Arya is the highest of them historically, but the other 2 also can lead to the highest. Or you, having reached the highest, you can also practice either of the other 2 for the benefit of other people who are not awakened. Okay. Next question.
Okay, thank you. The next question, can you please explain more about the 4 dhyana? How mindfulness is purified by equanimity?
Okay, dhyana is the Sanskrit and it's anglicized into English. Dhyana, you look at a big dictionary, you get this word dhyana, but you don't get jhana. Pali, we don't have that. So that's why I use the English term. it's not that I'm pro Sanskrit or anything like that. I just want to use the English words where they are available. But sometimes I will pronounce the Pali word anyway. So, what prevents us from meditating worldly distractions? The 5 hindrances, where we're caught up with, we want this, we want that, we don't like this, we don't like that. And we're caught up with tiredness and sleepiness, and all kinds of other distractions from the world, right? So when we learn to clear the mind through the precepts and through the suttas, we're able to attain dhyana by clearing the mind of all these intrusions from the world. It's like you have washed yourself clean. You feel so good, you know. So here, because the dhyana clears the mind of worldliness and distractions, when the person comes out of dhyana, the mind is very calm and clear, and he uses that mind to look at true reality. It's like a clean lens; you can see it very clearly. So that's why the dhyanas are very important in that sense. You don't have to attain dhyana. Even you do simple meditation, you get to some level of calmness for a while, and then you find your mind so clear, you can understand the sutta better, right? Well, what I do is, for example, I stop a while, I relax, just calm myself to clear my mind, so that I can understand the passage better when I come back and read it again. So that's how we train the mind to be calm and clear. And meditation is a very good way of doing it directly. All right? Okay, next question.
There's no more question in the chat box. Anybody, you have any question? You may ask now.
Okay, yes, we've got 5 more minutes.
You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
So if you like, you can go through the sutta yourself again. And this time you look at the notes. There are little numbers there, and then you look at the footnotes, and then sometimes there are cross references that tell you to look up another sutta, and then you link up from there. That's how you expand your study. So that, yes?
Sorry. Sister Feeling, are you happy with the answer?
Yeah,
If you're not clear, you can ask again.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
Good, good.
So I think that I'm there that I can understand better.
Well, you ask whatever you're not clear about, yeah? Sometimes I may forget and then tell you other stories, so just ask again. So remember, if you have a new sutta from the Sutta Discovery series, first thing you do is just read through the sutta as it is. Don't read the notes, nothing, just the sutta. Read through, have an idea what the sutta is about. That's the first round. Oh, well, this is a short sutta. And then second round later, and maybe later on in the day or another day, do it in a relaxed way. Don't rush. No agenda, no timetable. Just relax. Do it like going for exercise. Then come back second round, look at the sutta, and then look at the notes like that. Yeah, that's a more effective way of mastering the suttas. You must remember, for me, over the last 20 years, I'm looking at the same suttas over and over. It's like having old friends, you know, and then you look at them, you begin to know them better. You say, oh, this is what this sentence really means. And here, oh, this is how this passage connects with another passage elsewhere in another sutta, and so on. And then you begin to see the connection, and you feel happy, and then that's how it works. The joy arises in you. So now I finish volume 62, you know, the Sutta Discovery, and so very soon, Providence will be able to read those 200 pages of new Sutta translation. Right. There are a lot of new materials.
Okay. Now we have two questions.
Yes.
First one is from Sister Feeling again. Which sutta is Brother Piya's favorite?
Well, there are many suttas I do like, but I think one of the most remarkable sutta, simple one I like, is called the Saṅgha Sutta. Saṅgha Sutta, the all, where in one short passage, less than a page long, the Buddha talks about this is all you can know, and that will free you, right? All that you can know are your sense faculties, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and the 6 objects. That's all you can know. That's the source of knowledge. So in just one short page, the Buddha has given the essence of epistemology, theory of knowledge. That's amazing. How come nobody thought about this? And the Buddha has given that. Saṅgha Sutta, Sabbha Sutta. Sutta. So retranslated, you can look it up. Let me see, what is the number of that sutta? Saṅgha Sutta. I have an index here, so if you want the sutta index, just let me know, I'll send the index to you. Saṅgha Sutta, S35.23. The SD number is 7.1, right? Sometimes you find in the Sutta Discovery short forms and some funny technical term. So if you want to know the meaning of all those things, just write to me or right now. Say, please send me the Sutta guide, SD guide. Everything is there, including the bibliography also. Okay, you need the guide to follow all those technical terms. And if you want the index of suttas, index of Dhamma, also index of the Dhamma, I'm working on it. But you can have what I have, you know? Yes, 1 more minute to go.
Yes, one more question from Brother LCU. Here the Buddha is able to convert the Venāga people without any miracle or superpower, and just by comparing the cultures to his meditation and lifestyle. In today's world, like some Christian evangelists are also promoting people by their speeches and testimonies. However, how can an individual like ourselves able to inspire others like our friends and relatives to follow our practice?
Yes, it depends on your wisdom, right? So if you know some suttas, you can use those teachings. Like for example, I know a lot of people like to quote the what do you call that? Kalama Sutta, right? Which talks about freedom, you see. Another approach is you can say all religions are based on belief. In other words, you have to believe because they don't have the truth. They have not seen God. They believe in things they have not seen. And they talk about the past, which they have not experienced. Whereas in the case of the Buddha talk about right now, see? So that's a very simple idea you can use to convince them. I think it's a matter of what you want to do in life. Because sometimes just by your friendship, people are more likely to follow you or become Buddhist rather than how much you know and proving them wrong. So we don't prove them wrong. We're just saying, hey, why don't you look this way? You can see something beautiful. You know? So they feel great. They feel like you've given them something rather than proven them wrong. Of course, there are a lot of people who are so sure of themselves. And maybe at the right time, you can, again, you know, kind of like maybe show them there's something better. Like the other day when I went to the hospital, this taxi man, he works part-time and he is a Pentecostal, you know, those speaking in tongues people. But luckily he's not the one who is very preachy, like there was one other person like that. So I told him, I said, I'm a Buddhist, you know, and I practice early Buddhism, you know, we follow the scripture and so on. So he knows I'm serious. I'm talking the way he talks, and so we have this mutual respect. I'm not there to convert him, and I want to be sure he is not trying to convert me either. So we had this very nice chat, and that's good enough. Oh yes, in volume 62, I have one special section where I'm discussing a new Western tendency to combine Christianity and Buddhism. There are scholars who are Christians, but they're so attracted to Buddhism, and they want both. And this is the thing going on now, a very interesting phenomenon, you know. So I'm studying this, and I've got some very interesting papers by some Western scholars who are serious Buddhists or early Buddhism. So as I said, volume 62 has got some very interesting things, new things for you to read. Okay, any other questions before we close?
No more question.
Mm-hmm.
Please turn on your videos.
All right, okay. Family photo time. All right, so no more questions, huh? No more last minute urgent question.
Brother Piya?
Yeah. Yes?
No, no question actually. I was no, not a question, but I was saying that when these other religions or people, when they say God, I actually think of Nibbana instead of thinking of God as a being somewhere. More like or Dhamma, even some power, force.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very, very wise. I mean, they can tell you what they want, you see, and you also can think what you want. They can't force us to think what we want, you see. I have a young nephew many years ago. The father was a preacher, so my elder brother. So he has to go to church because the father said, you have to go there. You know, he's a young kid. So he goes there early morning, he cycles there to one edge of town, and he joins all this hymn singing. And while the Christians are saying their prayers, he's quietly saying his Namo Tassa Bhagavato in church, you know. And then, okay, he doesn't tell his father, it's his private thing. And the moment that Christian service is finished, he cycles across town and go to the temple just in time for the morning puja. So you have this wonderful young man at the time. All right, so your mind, you better keep it or lose it to others. All right, and stay healthy with your body also. Then you're able to study Dhamma better. All right, so now we will close this wonderful session to be able to be with you again. So happy. Let us remember this 1.5 hours, how we have reflected, how we have recited the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts, shown our respect to the Buddha, and meditated a bit, and also listen to the Dhamma, and to our fellowship with each other. So this is a time for us to send out our loving kindness, wishing ourselves well and happy, that we may continue to study the Dhamma joyfully. Send your kind thoughts to others too, those who are important to you. And let us close by showing our gratitude to the 3 jewels. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava, Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Dhammang Namasami, Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.